In a quiet neighborhood surrounded by neem and bougainvillea trees, lived a hard-working widow named Nazreen, a mother of two daughters. Her eldest, Areeba, was gentle, intelligent, and calm. One of those girls who absorbed pain instead of expressing it, who smiled through storms, and who always believed the world would reward good intentions. Areeba had recently completed her university degree when she met Hassan through a family friend. Their first meeting was simple and respectful. Hassan seemed polite, well-spoken, and modest. Areeba felt hopeful. For the first time, she allowed herself to think, maybe this is the person with whom I can build a peaceful life. Her mother prayed in the background, whispering, Ya Allah, make this proposal a blessing. The families met shortly after. Hassan's father was quiet, his sister friendly, but his mother, Shagufta Begum, dominated the room with her loud opinions and constant bragging about her son's job, status, and desirability. Still, the families agreed, and the engagement was finalized. Areeba's family felt relieved. After all, every mother dreams of seeing her daughter in a loving home. But from the very first day, Shagufta Begum's pride wrapped around every conversation like thorny vines. She said things like, My son deserves the best. Girls from refined families must bring complete dowry. Marriage is not possible without meeting our expectations. Her tone wasn't a request. It was a list of demands. The demands slowly grew. Full bedroom furniture, double-door refrigerator, expensive gold set, sapling, seskand, endless necessary items. Nazreen, already struggling financially, sold her jewelry and borrowed money from relatives just to fulfill the list. When someone told her she wasn't obligated, she replied, I can bear debt, but not the shame of breaking my daughter's proposal. Areeba begged her mother not to worry, but inside, she felt guilty. She wondered whether happiness always came at such a painful price. Despite the emotional and financial exhaustion, the wedding took place. Areeba entered her new home hopeful, believing love could dissolve all bitterness. But hope was fragile in that house. Very fragile. Within the first week after the wedding, reality unfolded like a bitter truth. Shagufta Begum began her daily inspection as though she was checking a servant's work. Why is the roti too soft? Why is the curry too thin? Why aren't you wearing the jewelry we gave? Why are you sitting? Get up and work. Areeba smiled politely, assuming it was temporary. But the taunts continued. Girls who come with dowry should work harder. You must prove you are worthy of my son. Your mother gave items, not manners. Hassan, instead of supporting Areeba, told her, My mother is old. Just tolerate her. Every girl goes through this. But not every girl has to endure cruelty. Days became weeks, and the emotional abuse became routine. Areeba wasn't allowed to visit her mother. She wasn't allowed new clothes. She wasn't allowed to rest. Even phone calls were monitored. When she once asked Shagufta Begum if she could visit home, the reply was cold. Married girls don't run back to their mothers every month. Stay here and focus on being a good daughter-in-law. Areeba swallowed her tears. Hassan, absorbed in his job and mother's approval, ignored her loneliness. He believed supporting his wife would weaken his position at home. He didn't realize it was weakening the foundation of his marriage. 3 months later, Areeba discovered she was pregnant. Her heart filled with joy and fear at the same time. She imagined Hassan smiling, maybe holding her hand, maybe even protecting her from his mother now. But when she shared the news, Hassan simply nodded, without excitement. Shagufta Begum, instead of celebrating, remarked, We'll see if it's a boy. Pray it's not a girl. Girls only bring burden. That night, Areeba cried silently. Every woman deserves comfort during pregnancy, but she was made to work even harder. With swelling feet and morning sickness, she was still expected to cook, clean, wash, and serve. One day, she fainted in the kitchen. Instead of concern, her mother-in-law complained, Drame karnai ki zarat nahi hai. Calm Siko. No need to act. Learn how to work.
Hassan said nothing.
He just walked away. When Nazreen saw her daughter's deteriorating health, weak voice, sunken eyes, Trembling hands, she insisted Areeba stay with her for a few weeks. Areeba was too scared to ask, so her own mother stepped forward, visited the in-laws' house, and said respectfully, "She is unwell, let her rest with me for a while." Shagufta Begum rolled her eyes. Hassan shrugged. They allowed her to go only because they didn't want the responsibility of taking her to the doctor. At her mother's home, Areeba finally slept peacefully. She smiled again. She ate without fear. She felt sunlight on her skin without being scolded. But she also felt guilty, like she was stealing happiness she didn't deserve. Months later, Areeba gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl. The moment Areeba held her daughter in her arms, she felt a new purpose, a new courage, awake inside her. Nazreen kissed the baby and whispered, "You are a blessing, my child." But the in-laws didn't even come to see the baby. Not the first day. Not the second. Not even the first week. When they finally visited, Shagufta Begum didn't hold the baby. She said rudely, Ladki. Chalo. Allah ki marzi.
A girl.
Well, God's will. Hassan barely looked at his daughter. Areeba felt something inside her break, a soft sound, like a thread snapping. After 40 days, she returned to her in-laws' house. She hoped at least motherhood would soften their hearts. But the cruelty intensified. The taunts were sharper than knives. A daughter brings no honor. What use is she? You couldn't even give us a son. Hassan started staying out late. He became cold, distant, irritated by the baby's cries. He stopped eating food Areeba cooked, stopped talking kindly, stopped trying. One evening, in anger, he said, "A daughter is a burden. You couldn't even do this right." Areeba froze. Her daughter, her precious, innocent blessing, reduced to a burden. That night, she held her sleeping baby close and realized, "I came here searching for love, but I have only found prison walls." The final blow came when Shagufta Begum publicly shouted at Areeba in front of relatives, accusing her of ruining their family name by birthing a girl. Hassan did not stop her. He did not defend his wife. He did not defend his daughter. Areeba stood silently, tears burning in her eyes, as her baby cried in her arms. At that moment, she knew. This was no longer her home. This was a place killing her spirit slowly. She packed her daughter's clothes the same night, left without creating drama, left without shouting, left without explaining, just walked out, with grace,
Dignity.
and a baby who deserved a better world. Back at her mother's home, Areeba felt both relief and sorrow. She had escaped the cruelty, but society's whispers began. She should tolerate more. It's her duty to adjust. She is a daughter. What will happen now? But Nazreen stood firm like a shield. My daughter will not suffer anymore. She will rise, and I will stand with her. Areeba slowly began healing. She attended therapy sessions. She learned digital design and freelancing. She worked late nights, fed her baby, slept little, cried sometimes, but kept going. Her daughter, Dua, became her motivation. Each time Dua smiled, Areeba felt strength bloom again. Months later, she began earning more than Hassan ever did. She bought new furniture for her mother. She enrolled Dua in a good daycare. She regained confidence. Her laughter returned, soft at first, then strong. One morning, a courier arrived. A white envelope. Inside were divorce papers signed by Hassan. No apology. No explanation. No guilt. Just a signature. Areeba stared at the papers for a long time. Then she smiled. Not out of happiness, but out of closure. She realized something powerful. He had walked out of the marriage that day. But she had walked out long before. The day she chose her daughter's dignity over their cruelty. She signed the papers calmly. Then she held Dua close and whispered, "I promise you, you will grow in love, not fear. In support, not silence. In respect, not judgment." 2 years later, Areeba was a confident, successful woman. She had started a small home-based studio designing digital invitations and event merchandise. Her business grew quickly because she worked with honesty, dedication, and creativity. People admired her strength. Clients respected her professionalism. Relatives who once whispered now praised her courage. She wasn't just surviving. She was thriving. Areeba raised her daughter with warmth, teaching her kindness, without fear, confidence, without arrogance, dreams, without limitations. Dua grew into a cheerful, intelligent toddler who filled the home with laughter. Nazreen often said, "Daughters are blessings. Yours saved you." And Areeba knew it was true. One evening, while watching Dua play with wooden blocks, Areeba thought of everything she had survived. The manipulation, the insults, the loneliness, the pressure, the cruelty. She understood something profound. She was never weak. She was patient. But when patience becomes self-destruction, walking away becomes survival. She chose survival. She chose dignity. She chose her daughter. She chose herself. And that choice transformed her life. Areeba later shared her story with other women, saying, "Never let anyone convince you that you are powerless. Your worth is not measured by dowry, obedience, or silence. You are allowed to leave places that kill your spirit. You are allowed to protect your children. You are allowed to choose respect over suffering." She touched many hearts. Because her story was not just hers. It was the story of countless women who suffered silently. And through her courage, she gave them hope.